Hi, and welcome back to Wounded on Sixes. Today we're going to be going over a list that I'm thinking about bringing to a tournament that I have coming this weekend, May 11th, 2024. The tournament is a 1,500 point tournament that requires a special stipulation. 1,000 of that 1,500 points must be monsters or vehicles. It must include one character leader model to be your warlord, and the other 500 points of the 1,500 can be whatever you like. So this is the Tau list that I'm thinking about bringing, and I have a couple of different Tau lists that I'm thinking about bringing, but this one I'm really liking, and I'm kind of calling it the railgun type list because it just has a lot of railguns. So let's start over here. We have a unit of Pathfinders. These guys are going to help with our for the greater good count. They're going to be able to guide two of our monster and vehicle killing units into their targets. They also can come with a recon drone, which is probably what I'm going to bring with them just to give me tactical flexibility and deployment, which I think a lot of other armies are going to have trouble dealing with because they're not going to have the points to bring those tricksy type units that are starting off in the middle of the battlefield before the game or during the game. So I really think that the recon drone's gonna pay dividends here. I'm also bringing the rail guns just because there's gonna be a lot of tough stuff out there. Maybe a couple of railgun shots from the Pathfinders will hit their mark. Next, I have a unit of crisis suits, and I also want to stipulate that this tournament is the day that the Tau Codex is supposed to release, so I'm doubting the new Tau Codex rules are going to be legal at this tournament, seeing how it comes out the same day of it. So I'm going to be running these like the current crisis units without the non-named crisis unit. This is a crisis commander with a crisis team, and everyone's going to have plasma guns. I kind of landed on the plasma just because it has the longest range. The flat 3 damage is pretty good. And I'm kind of concerned that the fusions, although they're tailor-made for this type of meta, without the new Tau detachments that come with the book, that's probably not going to be legal for this tournament. I'm thinking the plasma is the best overall, as there may be some medium type vehicles that the strength 8 -3 damage is going to be effective against. So the crisis commander is going to give them rerolls. Again, the crisis commander won't exist after the codex releases, but this is kind of going to be the last hurrah. I'm not bringing CIBs because, again, this is mostly going to be monsters and vehicles. And I think the CIBs are better against, lighter to medium to heavy infantry and not really the monsters and vehicles. So that's why we're coming with the plasma. Next, we're going to have 3 units of stealth suits. 2 of them are going to come with a fusion blaster each, and 1 will not. And these are really here just to guide the rest of our heavy hitters here. So this should make it so that between there for the greater good and there for the greater good, all of our units back here should be guided into their targets. Again, this is going to be index rules only, so they won't be re-rolling hit rolls of 1, but they will be re-rolling wound rolls of 1 when they guide their units. They're basically marine bodies. They can start in infiltrate. They have stealth. They're just a great all-around units, and I think they're going to help me to play the mission where I think a lot of people are going to go, they're going to go ham with the monsters and vehicles and not pay attention to the mission. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Some people just get caught up with the concept and then aren't playing the mission. these guys are going to help me play the mission. They're going to help me get good board position. They're going to help me get objectives early. And then they're going to help the wound roll, which Tau definitely will need some help with some of their weapon systems that I'm bringing here today. That reroll wound rolls of 1 for what they guide should really help units like the Riptide and the Ghostkeel, which we're going to get to now. So 1 Riptide, 1 Ghostkeel. Again, I love the Ghostkeel as an all-around great unit for this type of gameplay, tournament play, because it's going to have lone op. It's going to be able to start in the middle of the board. It is a real tank. I mean, I wish its OC was a little bit better, but you know, if it can get onto an objective and force our opponent to have to try to deal with it, they're going to have a hard time. They're not going to have the type of infantry spam to try to like charge this and hold it up in combat. So the Ghostkeel, I think, is going to have a field day, and part of me thinks I should be running more of these, especially for this mission play, but right now I just have 1 on the list. The Riptide, I think this is also going to be a great unit. It's got the 4-up invul. It's got the big gun. The missile drones are going to be good from this, you know, from the missile drones are better in the index. It's just going to be a force to reckon with. If I can get this up onto an objective point early and force my opponent to have to come out of wherever they're hiding and deal with it, it can pop it. This thing can tank a lot of damage. We can spike those mortal wounds with its Nova Charge. I just like everything about the Riptides and the 165 points. I mean, you can't beat it. Again, will I add more Ghostkeels and Riptides? It seems the way that I've been leaning, although I think that they're both better in 2,000 points, and I think they're both better in Monka than they are Kayun, which this list is going to be running as its detachment. So we shall see in the next couple of days whether we up the count on these guys or not. I then have 2 units of 2 broadsides. They're going to have the rail guns. They're going to have the plasma guns, the twin plasma rifles, and they're each going to have a seeker missile. I love the way these guys tank damage, the way they can really spike it with those 4 railgun shots a unit. The missile drones are also really good. Strength 7, -2, 2 damage. So, you know, the real downside to these guys is getting them into position. I probably will want to start 1 on the board and 1 in strategic reserve just to bring it in for some really good shots, maybe on turn 2 or turn 3, especially since we're going to be playing Kayun. But yeah, I really like all the broadsides coming in, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, let's just bring a bunch of broadsides and, you know, punish other monsters and vehicles with a ton of really good shots. Rounding out the list, we have 2 Hammerhead gunships, and they're going to be exactly the same with the Seeker missiles, the Twin Spark missile systems, and the railgun. I thought about bringing a Skyray here, but, you know, the consistency of these models on monsters and vehicles, which is what this entire tournament is going to be about, is just too good to pass up. If it does not have an invul, chances are these are going to destroy it, if not put it into a bracket. They are just so good against monsters and vehicles. If you sit them still and you guide them, they can hit on 2s. They get 1 free reroll to hits and wounds, and it's D6 +6, -5, strength 20 shot. You just can't beat that railgun. So, yeah, the Hammerheads, I think these are going to be my ace in the hole. As far as what I'm expecting to see, I think there's going to be a lot of Tau at this tournament. So I am also kind of teching for Tau. That's why I think also the Ghostkeels and the Riptides are really good, because I think they're very good in the Tau matchup. I don't foresee people bringing a lot of the Breacher spam, although I think that we would be okay dealing with a breacher spam just because we can bring so many missile drones to the fight between the Riptide and the Broadsides that I think that we could do enough damage there to those breacher teams that their effect on OC would be minimal. But yeah, the Hammerheads are also going to be really good against things like the vehicle spam Marines that are out there. A lot of people playing Iron Storm. I also do expect a lot of demons in my local meta. A lot of demon players, Thousand Suns, very popular. I would imagine there may be a Death Guard player or two as well. Again, this is just a list that I'm thinking about running. I have other options. There could be a Death Guard list that comes along. There could be a Ultramarines list. Definitely going to keep playing around. So I would stay tuned. You're going to see a lot more list reviews as I get ready for this tournament, which is coming up next weekend. So stay tuned for Wounded on Sixes, and we'll talk to you next time.